Happy Friday, everybody! Woo! We made it! We made it! Spring break! Let's go! Let's go! Whoa, hold on. You have one more assignment before you leave. Today, what you're going to work on is building your loom for your weaving. Now, unlike looms of the past or the big, large looms of the present, our loom is actually going to be made from our piece of cardboard. Let's get ready to loom! Here are the things that you're going to need for today. So, you're going to need your cardboard, a pencil, or a pen or a marker, or something to write on the cardboard with, your paper ruler, some scissors, and at least one of your rolls of yarn. If you follow along with me to build your loom, you'll be done in no time. And remember, this is a video, so if there's a part that you're lost or stuck in, I can't hear you go, whoa, Miss A. So just pause, rewind, check it out again. For my bag, I actually have 3 colors. So I have these guys. If you have yarn that's like this one, where it's, can you see that? I don't know if you see that. It's like really fuzzy and very cool, but just like very fuzzy. That's not going to be good to use on your loom, to build your loom with. So what I'm actually going to do is I picked my blue yarn because this yarn is a little bit more sturdy. It's not so fuzzy. So whichever yarn you have that's just normal yarn, that's the one you want to use for your loom. Now get your ruler out. If you're using the paper ruler like me, you're going to want to fold one of the edges. You could also cut the paper, but you don't have to. If you want to fold the paper, just make sure you can see the top black line so that you know where to fold. We did it! After this, you're going to want to measure your cardboard. Your bag has to be at least 7 inches by 9 inches, but you can go larger. I want my bag to be 10 inches long because I'm going to have a fold over flap. You also want to make sure that your cardboard is straight. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it shouldn't be super uneven. I never really trust my lines and it'll bother me if my edges are off. So I like to use something that has a right angle to check how my right angles look. Again, your cardboard doesn't have to be perfect, but it shouldn't be really uneven. Here's my cardboard, and right now it is 10 inches by about 9 inches. You'll need to look at your sketch again. Do you want a tall, skinny bag or a short, wide bag? I need my bag to be tall because I'm making that fold over closure and I don't want it to be too wide. So I'll need to cut this cardboard. So here's my cardboard cut and ready for my loom. As you can see, it's about 7 inches wide and about 10 inches tall. Before you add the warp to your loom, you need to think about which part of your cardboard is the bottom and which is the top. Basically, the top is the open part of your bag. For my bag, this is going to be my top. I always like to write it on my cardboard so I don't forget. You can too if you want. Now, to put the warp on the loom, we're going to have to make notches in the cardboard to hold the yarn. Our notches are going to be 1/2 inch long, and I'm going to highlight that so I don't forget. Now at the top of my board, I'm going to measure for 1/2 inch and draw a little line at the edge of the ruler, not the paper. I like to do this in 3 different spots along the top, so that way I can be relatively sure I have a straight line. Now we're going to measure how wide our notches are. As you'll notice from my practice loom, the notches are 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 to an inch, then 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 inch. Just like before, I'm going to mark those measurements on my ruler so I don't forget. This time to measure, I'm going to put my board on top of my paper ruler and draw where the notches should go. Let's cut those notches! Remember, you don't want to cut too far down or too short. Your notches need to be as identical as possible. Now we're ready to add the warp to our loom. Remember, if you have a fuzzy or odd yarn, don't use that for the warp threads. I'm going to use my blue yarn. Before you start, make sure you unwind some yarn so that it'll be easy for you to work with. You do not want to cut your yarn. Keep it attached until you're done. Now make sure you have a long tail of yarn and you're going to slide it through the first notch. What I want you to notice is that my yarn is still attached to my roll. So I have the long tail and my yarn through the first notch on the right. Now I'm going to take my yarn and wrap it around the cardboard until it meets the yarn back at the top. Let me show that again. I have my tail to one side and my yarn through the first notch on the right. Now I wrap it around the cardboard until it meets the yarn at the top. Now we start the pattern. The first notch doesn't have yarn across it, but I'll cross the yarn over the second notch and then put it through the second notch. This is going to be a pattern. Then I do the same thing. I wrap the yarn around the board until it meets the yarn at the top. One side doesn't have the yarn and the other does. From the back, I cross the yarn over the third notch. See, the pattern is on the back of the loom as well. Yarn, no yarn, yarn. no yarn, yarn, no yarn. Then I wrap the yarn around the board until it meets the yarn at the top. You want your warp to be snug. It shouldn't be so tight that the cardboard bends, but it shouldn't be loose either. Just like before, I continue the pattern. Then I wrap around the board. You're going to keep doing this until you reach the end of your loom. Follow the pattern, then wrap around. If you stop and you can't remember which part of the pattern you're on, look at the notch that you did last. You should only have one yarn string in each notch. If you have two, it's wrong and you need to undo it. Make sure you go into the right notch. You don't want to go into another notch because you need to complete the circle. This is why we don't cut the yarn from the roll. It's hard to tell how much you need for the loom. You'll continue this until you get to the end of your loom. Here I am now at the end of my loom. Now we need to count how many warps we have on each side of the loom. On my loom, this side has 27 warp threads. This side also has 27, and that's not what we want. It doesn't matter which number you get, your loom must have an odd and an even side. If they match, you can fix it by taking off one of the threads. You will need to cut this thread and then tape it down. Make sure that this little piece still wraps over the board. You want to tape it so well that you won't be able to use it while you're weaving or even see it. Also, make sure that the tape is pushed into the cardboard. You don't want it sticking to your warp threads. Your tape should only be on one side. Do not let it wrap around the board. Move your warp threads back and fix them on your loom. Now count each side again and make sure you have one odd side and one even side. Next, we'll secure the top. All of these notches are fragile and the warp could get pulled off, which we do not want. So what we'll do is take the tail and wrap it around the top and tape the top down. Do not cut the tail. You'll need it when you finish your bag. You don't need any special tape. You just want to make sure it's secure and really pressed down. Duct tape might be overkill, but you don't want the yarn at the top to move either. Make sure to tape a little below where the notches end and really press that tape down. You want the tape to be as even as you can reasonably get it. Guys, your loom is finished. Woo! Woo! This is all you're going to work on today. So once you finish your loom, all you have to do is take a photo, please, 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 with a phone or something better than the Chromebook web camera, and submit it on Classroom. And that will be your turn it in, basically, and attendance for today. Now you are free. Well, kinda. You have spring break, so relax, sleep in, video chat with all of your friends. Play a catchphrase over video conference or Uno or Pictionary. Just stay safe. I'm going to miss you guys. I will be in my home all spring break working on videos. But if you need to talk to me, if you have a question, if there's something that you need help with, remember that you can always contact me on Google Hangouts. And I'm going to be sending out a Google form to see if any of you guys want me to have office hours over spring break. So if you guys are bored, if you're starting to go stir crazy, you can jump on the conference and we'll play a game. Don't worry, I'll show you the game. You're gonna have fun. Just don't worry, you're gonna have fun, okay? So all that's left for me to do is say I love you and stay safe and healthy. Don't talk to strangers. Don't get into any unmarked vans. Don't get groceries from someone off the street. It's not that bad. And I will see you when we get back. Bye, my babies.